An armed man was shot and killed by law enforcement after breaching the security perimeter of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida early Sunday morning. The intruder was carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a gas canister when Secret Service and local police opened fire, killing him on the spot. President Trump was not at the property when this happened. But this marks the third time in less than 2 years that someone has attempted to attack Trump, either at his properties or during campaign events. And what makes this incident absolutely terrifying is what the intruder was carrying: a shotgun and a gas canister. Think about what that combination suggests: a firearm and accelerant. This wasn't just someone trying to trespass. This wasn't a confused person wandering onto the property. This appears to have been someone planning either an armed attack or an arson, or both. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said the individual was observed near the north gate of Mar-a-Lago around 1:30 a.m., carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a gas canister. When confronted by law enforcement and ordered to drop what he was carrying, the suspect put down the gas canister but raised the shotgun into firing position. That's when officers opened fire. The suspect was killed on the spot. No agents were injured. When you understand the full timeline of what happened, the security failures that allowed someone to get this close, and the pattern of escalating threats against Trump, you'll realize we're one security breakdown away from a successful assassination attempt against a sitting president. Let me walk you through exactly what happened, what we know about the suspect, and why Mar-a-Lago security is facing serious questions. Early Sunday morning, February 22nd, 2026, around 1:30 a.m. local time, 7:30 a.m. Paris time, security personnel observed a young man in his 20s near the north gate of the Mar-a-Lago property. The suspect was carrying 2 items, what appeared to be a shotgun and a gas canister. Let's pause there because that combination is significant. A shotgun alone suggests someone planning a shooting. A gas canister alone might suggest arson. Both together suggest either a complex attack plan or someone who wanted multiple options for causing destruction. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw explained at a press conference what happened next. The only words we addressed to him were, "Drop what you're carrying," meaning the gas canister and the shotgun. The suspect complied partially. He put down the gas canister. But instead of dropping the shotgun, he raised it into firing position. That's when law enforcement opened fire. Both a Palm Beach County police officer and Secret Service agents shot the suspect. He was killed on the scene. No law enforcement personnel were injured. The FBI, U.S. Secret Service, and Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office are now investigating the incident, including the suspect's background, his actions, his potential motive, and the use of force. Now let's talk about what we know about the suspect, because the details are extremely limited. He's described as a young man in his 20s. That's it. No name released, no background, no motive identified. Nothing about how he got onto the property or how long he'd been planning this. The lack of information is frustrating, but also strategic. When there's a potential security threat against a president, authorities don't want to release information that could inspire copycats or reveal security vulnerabilities. But here's what we can infer from what happened. This person knew where Mar-a-Lago was. He came armed. He brought a gas canister suggesting he planned to start a fire. He approached at 1:30 a.m. when he probably thought security would be lighter. This wasn't spontaneous. This was planned. Someone decided to target Trump's residence with weapons and accelerant in the middle of the night. The fact that he raised the shotgun into firing position when confronted tells us he was willing to engage law enforcement. He wasn't surrendering. He was preparing to shoot. If officers hadn't fired first, we might be talking about dead Secret Service agents or police officers right now. The decision to use lethal force was clearly justified given the suspect's actions. But the bigger question is, how did he get close enough to the North Gate to be a threat in the first place? Mar-a-Lago is supposed to be one of the most secure private properties in America. It's the president's residence when he's in Florida. Secret Service maintains permanent security there. There are multiple layers of protection, including perimeter security, surveillance, and armed agents. Yet someone with a shotgun and gas canister got close enough to the North Gate that confrontation was necessary. That's a security failure. Period. If this person had been more skilled, more determined, or better equipped, he might have breached further. He might have gotten to the main building. He might have been able to start fires or engage in a firefight with agents. The fact that he was stopped doesn't erase the fact that he got far enough to be a direct threat. Now let's talk about the pattern of threats against Trump, because this is the third major incident in less than 2 years. During the 2024 presidential campaign, Trump faced 2 assassination attempts. The first was at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania in July 2024. A gunman opened fire from an elevated position, hitting Trump in the ear. One rally-goer was killed and 2 others were seriously wounded before Secret Service counter-snipers killed the shooter. That was an actual assassination attempt that came within inches of killing Trump. If the bullet had been a few centimeters different, Trump would be dead. We came that close to a presidential candidate being assassinated. The second attempt was in Florida in September 2024. A gunman with a rifle was spotted hiding in bushes near Trump's golf course while Trump was playing golf. Secret Service spotted him before he could take a shot. The suspect fled but was later captured. That was a planned ambush that was prevented only because Secret Service spotted the suspect before Trump came within range. Now we have a third incident, an armed intruder with a shotgun and gas canister breaching Mar-a-Lago's security perimeter in the middle of the night, 3 times in less than 2 years. That's an unprecedented level of threat against a president or presidential candidate. And these are just the incidents we know about. These are the ones that got far enough to become public. How many other threats have been detected and stopped earlier? How many people are under investigation for threatening Trump? How many plots have been disrupted before they got this far? The reality is that Trump faces an extraordinary level of threat, partly because he's president, partly because he's one of the most polarizing political figures in American history, partly because the political environment is so toxic that some people genuinely believe violence against political opponents is justified. That combination creates an environment where assassination attempts are not just possible, but likely. And each failed attempt raises the question, how long until one succeeds? Let's talk about Mar-a-Lago security specifically, because this incident exposes vulnerabilities. Mar-a-Lago is a 20-acre estate in Palm Beach, Florida. It's a historic property that Trump owns and operates as a private club. When Trump is in residence, it serves as the Winter White House. The property has hundreds of members who pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for access. Events are held there. Weddings, dinners, parties. It's both a presidential residence and a functioning social club. That creates unique security challenges. How do you secure a property that has regular visitors and events, while also protecting the President of the United States? The answer is multiple layers of security, perimeter barriers, surveillance cameras, armed guards, Secret Service agents, background checks for anyone accessing the property, restricted areas where only authorized personnel can go. But this incident shows gaps in that system. Someone got close to the North Gate carrying weapons. Either perimeter security failed to detect him early enough, or there aren't enough barriers to prevent someone from approaching the property. The fact that this happened at 1:30 a.m. is significant. That's when security might be thinnest. Fewer staff on duty, less activity. Agents might be less alert after hours of quiet. If the suspect planned this, he chose his timing well. Attack when defenses are weakest. The question now is what changes will be made. Will there be additional perimeter security, more surveillance, more agents on overnight shifts, wider security zones around the property? Because if security doesn't change, we can expect more attempts. Every failed attempt teaches potential attackers what doesn't work. They learn from mistakes. They adapt. They try different approaches. That's why security has to constantly evolve to stay ahead of threats. Now let's talk about the weapons the suspect was carrying, because the combination is unusual and disturbing. A shotgun is a close-range weapon. It's not ideal for a long-distance attack. But at close range, it's devastating. A shotgun blast at close range will kill or seriously injure anyone hit. So the suspect either planned to get very close to his target, or he planned to use the shotgun against security personnel, or both. The gas canister suggests arson. He planned to start fires, either to create chaos and distraction, or to destroy the property, or to trap people inside a burning building. Combining these suggests either a multi-phase attack or someone who had multiple plans and wanted options. One possible scenario: use the gas canister to start fires, creating chaos and forcing evacuation. Then use the shotgun to attack people as they flee or responders as they arrive. Another scenario: breach the perimeter, start fires in multiple locations, then use the shotgun to defend his position while the fires spread. Either way, this was someone planning significant violence and destruction. This wasn't a person having a mental health crisis wandering onto the property. This was planned, premeditated, targeted violence. The fact that he raised the shotgun into firing position when confronted confirms he was willing to kill. He had the opportunity to surrender. He chose to try to shoot officers instead. That tells us everything we need to know about his intent. This was an attack. It was just stopped before he could fully execute it. Let's talk about the political implications, because this incident will fuel debates about political violence and rhetoric. Trump supporters will point to this as evidence that left-wing rhetoric has created an environment where violence against Trump is seen as acceptable or even noble. They'll argue that years of calling Trump a fascist, a threat to democracy, a dictator has convinced unstable people that killing Trump would be justified. Trump opponents will point to Trump's own rhetoric, encouraging violence at his rallies, his attacks on opponents, his refusal to condemn political violence when it benefits him. They'll argue that Trump has created a violent political environment and is now experiencing the consequences. Both sides will use this incident to confirm their existing beliefs about who's responsible for political violence. Neither side will accept any responsibility for contributing to the toxic environment. The reality is that political violence is escalating across the spectrum. We've seen attacks on Republican congressmen, attacks on Democratic congressmen, mass shootings motivated by political ideologies, riots, vandalism, threats. The temperature keeps rising, the rhetoric keeps escalating, and unstable people keep deciding that violence is the answer. This incident at Mar-a-Lago is just the latest example. It won't be the last. Now let's talk about what happens next, because there will be investigations and consequences. The FBI, Secret Service, and Palm Beach County Sheriff are all investigating. They'll examine the suspect's background, his social media, his communications, his movements in the days leading up to the attack. They'll try to determine if he acted alone or had help, whether he was part of a group or inspired by online communities. They'll examine the weapons and gas canister. Where did he get them? When did he acquire them? Were they purchased legally or illegally? They'll review security footage from Mar-a-Lago and surrounding areas. How did he approach the property? How long was he there before being detected? Were there warning signs that were missed? They'll conduct after-action reviews of the security response. What worked? What didn't? How can procedures be improved? And they'll assess whether this was an isolated incident or part of a broader threat. Are there other people planning similar attacks? Are there coordinated groups targeting Trump? All of this takes time. We probably won't get full answers for weeks or months. In the meantime, Mar-a-Lago security will be enhanced. More agents, more surveillance, wider security perimeters, anything to prevent a repeat. Trump himself will probably address this publicly. He'll thank law enforcement for stopping the threat. He'll attack his political opponents for creating an environment where attacks on him are encouraged. He'll use this incident to reinforce his narrative that he's under constant attack from enemies trying to stop him from making America great again. His opponents will try to change the subject as quickly as possible because assassination attempts generate sympathy for the target. They don't want Trump benefiting politically from being attacked. So expect this story to disappear from mainstream media relatively quickly, unless there are dramatic new developments about the suspect's background or motive. Let's talk about the broader security environment for presidents and former presidents, because this raises serious questions. Presidents and former presidents receive Secret Service protection. The level of protection varies based on threat assessments. Active presidents obviously get the most protection. Former presidents get less, but still significant protection. Trump is unique because he's both a current president and someone who faced serious threats as a candidate. The threat level against him is assessed as extremely high, so he gets maximum protection. But no security is perfect. Determined attackers can sometimes penetrate even the best defenses. That's why multiple layers exist. If one layer fails, others compensate. This incident shows that someone penetrated at least initial layers of Mar-a-Lago security. He got close enough to be a direct threat. That's concerning, even though he was ultimately stopped. If security doesn't improve, we could see a successful attack. Maybe not the next attempt, maybe not the 10th attempt. But eventually, if people keep trying, someone might succeed. That's the nightmare scenario everyone in law enforcement and Secret Service thinks about. Another presidential assassination, the political chaos, the violence it would trigger, the constitutional crisis if a sitting president is killed. Everything possible has to be done to prevent that outcome. This incident at Mar-a-Lago is a reminder that the threat is real and constant. Here's the bottom line and why this matters. An armed man carrying a shotgun and gas canister breached Mar-a-Lago's security perimeter early Sunday morning. When confronted and ordered to drop his weapons, he put down the gas canister but raised the shotgun into firing position. Secret Service and Palm Beach County Police opened fire, killing him on the spot. No agents were injured. President Trump was not at the property. This is the third major security incident targeting Trump in less than 2 years. 2 assassination attempts during the 2024 campaign, now this breach at Mar-a-Lago. The suspect was in his 20s, no name or background released yet. The combination of shotgun and gas canister suggests planned violence and potential arson. FBI, Secret Service, and local authorities are investigating the suspect's background, motive, and how he breached security. This incident exposes vulnerabilities in Mar-a-Lago security. Someone with weapons got close to the North Gate at 1:30 a.m. That shouldn't be possible at a presidential residence. Political violence is escalating. Threats against political figures from both parties are increasing. The toxic political environment encourages unstable people to see violence as justified. This was a planned attack that was stopped. But how long until an attack succeeds? How many failed attempts before security fails? The Secret Service stopped this threat. They did their job. But the fact that the threat got this close is concerning. Security will be enhanced. Investigations will continue. And we'll all hope there's not a 4th attempt, because eventually, if people keep trying to kill the president, one of them might succeed, and that would change American politics forever.